Action, author of the New York Times #1 best-selling book. It's #1 now 4 weeks in a row. Plunder and Deceit: Big Government's Exploitation of Young People in the Future. I call him the Great One, Mark Levin. Sir, Rudy Giuliani was on this program, and he said he has identified 12 specific laws that could be broken if he were investigating this case. You've looked at the law. We've talked about it in weeks past. Your thoughts?
There's one law in particular that matters.
793.
And I want to read this. It'll take a short time, but I want to make sure James Carville and Lanny Davis can understand what I'm saying. Section 793 of the Federal Penal Code. Whoever being entrusted with or having lawful possession, they didn't say send or receive, in lawful possession or control of any information relating to the national defense. I'll get to the rest later. Notice she said, I never received or sent anything marked classified. That would be bad enough. It doesn't have to be marked anything if it is relating to the national defense. I'm reading from the Espionage Act. Through gross negligence, that is, she didn't have to have specific knowledge or intent. Gross negligence permits the same to be removed from its proper place of custody or delivered to anyone in violation of his trust, or to be lost, stolen, abstracted, or destroyed, and there's a fine. This is a felony statute. Now, Sean, the U.S. Attorney hasn't said a damn thing. There ought to be a grand jury impaneled. I'm glad the criminal side of the FBI is investigating. It's not enough. Where's the U.S. Attorney General? Silent, not a word. We've had special prosecutors appointed on a hell of a lot less than this. Where's the special prosecutor? Where's Obama in pointing it? Nowhere. The United States Justice Department under this president is in full cover-up mode. Probably some civil servant, patriotic FBI agents are pushing and trying to do something, but this requires a full, comprehensive investigation, gathering all the evidence, bringing in all these staffers, yes, bringing in Hillary Clinton in front of a grand jury without a lawyer, questioning her and getting to the bottom of this.
Right, Mark,
this is not an email scandal. Hillary Clinton threw our national security on the table for all our enemies to see.
And so any issue or information related to defense, and you're talking about 18 U.S.C. 793, the Espionage Act, so by definition, satellite images of North Korea's nuclear facilities, which we know are in these emails, that would, in my mind, classify as a violation of that act. That's only one example of what might turn out to be many. Again, 33,000 of these emails were erased. You know, hopefully we can retrieve some of them, right?
Well, if the law is enforced properly, in my humble opinion, and if Hillary Clinton is the putative Democrat nominee and wins the presidency, she would be serving the presidency from Leavenworth, quite frankly. There are multiple examples, just from Ed's report, just from public information out there. The idea that we're even debating whether or not she violated the law, you'll hear her supporters say, well, where's the evidence? And I say, we're not only overwhelmed with all the evidence, I say, where is the grand jury? Why isn't there a grand jury? Where the hell is the U.S. Attorney in the District of Columbia?
Yeah, good question, and where's the Attorney General? But I go back to Republicans. You know, Loretta Lynch said she supported the president's illegal, unconstitutional actions of the president on executive amnesty, so I'm not really holding my breath that she's going to involve herself in any way. Look, this goes beyond political, though. So my question to you is, I remember you being on my program talking about impeachment and talking about perjury and subornation of perjury and obstruction of justice and a president that lost his law license. They've been able to escape so much over the years. My guess is they think that they're going to be able to parse their words and say marked versus received and probably obfuscate the issue enough to get away with it with the American public. Legally speaking, it seems like there's a cover-up going on, and I don't have enough faith and confidence in our Attorney General that she's going to do anything about it. Does she skate over this, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know, but the Republicans should be demanding a grand jury under the United States Attorney's auspices in Washington, D.C. We have a public integrity unit that could get involved in the criminal division of the Justice Department, the Attorney General, who should be appointing a special prosecutor, but she won't. The fact is the U.S. Attorney should, in fact, impound jury. It's only because it's Hillary Clinton that they haven't. Her hands are all over this stuff. And this stuff about Mark classified, that is totally irrelevant. That was lawyered. And if our lawyers weren't read into these programs, they should be investigated too, quite frankly. There should be a broad net. It's not a matter of specific intent. That is government information. That's national security information. It applies to everyone, especially the Secretary of State. Sean, when she put that server in her barn next to her house in Chappaqua, and then when that information was moved to Denver, somebody knew exactly what was going on, and the idea that she didn't know is preposterous. When they put that server on her private property, which was receiving government information, which she had to know the Secretary of State was going to receive information that relating to national defense, unless she put out a directive and said, I don't want to receive any information related to national defense, she had to know she was receiving it. That is gross negligence.
Let me ask you one question about 2016, Mark, if we can. When people ask me, I haven't endorsed anybody. I don't think you have either up till this point. People ask me what I'm looking for. We're 5 months away from the Iowa caucus, first votes being cast. And I always say I'm looking for the most conservative candidate because conservatism works and we can help turn the country around. We need to in a lot of different ways that can articulate a vision that will inspire people and can win. What is Mark Levin looking for?
Well, exactly the same thing. But, you know, a lot of these candidates, if you go back a few years, they weren't all that conservative. So if they've had a lurch to the right, we have to make sure that lurch is legitimate. I'm not picking on any specific candidate at all, but I think we have one more chance here. We have to bust through the Republican establishment, as Reagan had to as an outsider, give people an opportunity to vote for a real choice, a conservative, as a matter of principle, as a matter of policy, so we can spread liberty, so we can spread opportunity, so we can spread free market capitalism, so we can secure our border. So rather than fundamentally transform America, we will fundamentally transform our enemies. And we can reverse what Barack Obama has done with the regulatory state and so forth and so on, and put more originalists on the Supreme Court. This is a crucially important election. No more pretend conservatives. We need a real conservative, and they will win. The last time we nominated a real conservative, Reagan, he won 2 massive landslides.
Mark, congratulations. 4 consecutive weeks, plunder and deceit, #1 on the New York Times list.